Welcome to the House of Hypertrophy. In your quest to unlock the next level of your physique, you'll come across certain popular ideas from the bodybuilding realm. Some have been dismantled by the scientific literature. Do you still believe them? It's possible, as they are repeated again and again. Believing them has the potential to not only hold back your results, but even your training enjoyment. By the end, we will have separated facts from fiction in 5 key areas, and you'll have some knowledge to help you along your muscle building journey. The pump is a temporary increase in muscle size achieved from lifting. Some think of it as a preview of upcoming solidified gains. During intense muscular contractions, a flow of events involving increased blood volume and fluid explains the pump. Some find immense pleasure in the pump.
It's as satisfying to me as coming is.
Some say maxing the pump maximizes gains. In fact, popular bodybuilding coach Hani Rambod devised the FST7 program, including components of higher sets and shorter rests to maximize the pump. The belief being this stretches out the fascia to make room for growth. Multiple high-level bodybuilders have trained with this method. Luckily, this 2023 paper had trained individuals perform an FST-inspired program for the biceps and triceps. The volume was super high and the rest between sets short. One group actually stretched between some of the sets, while another rested passively. The result? Overall arm hypertrophy in both groups was minimal, with multiple non-statistically significant gains. Some even slightly lost size, possibly as the higher volumes led to excessive damage that oriented the protein synthesis response to repair rather than growth. Now, as detailed in some other videos at the House of Hypertrophy, higher volumes can produce respectable hypertrophy, but there's good reason to believe the pump's relation to hypertrophy is not strong. When researchers have pharmacologically induced reactive hyperemia, protein synthesis isn't improved. Multiple training strategies also enhance the pump, but not your gains. Higher reps evoke a greater pump, but tend to be similar to lower reps. Although, super high reps can produce a tremendous pump, but inferior gains. Drop sets involve performing multiple bouts of reps to failure with progressively lighter loads. They will produce an incredible pump, but seem to largely be similar to normal sets. A constant tension technique avoids locking out the joints and elicits a great pump, but the majority of the research finds them to be similarly effective to a normal technique. So what does this mean for you? Don't worry about maxing the pump. Think of it as a byproduct of your training, not the goal. This is not to say you can't chase the pump. Many of the techniques that produce a greater pump do not compromise gains, so feel free to enjoy that pump if you like. Time under tension refers to the duration of one of your sets. A longer time under tension or reaching a desired target is often recommended.
In this case, we find that the time under tension that's best for building muscle is around 40 to 60 seconds long.
Take those 15 reps a lot slower than normal to increase the time under tension.
The popular Mike Mentzer even recommended a slow 4-second lifting and 4-second lowering tempo. Tension has been identified as likely the primary initiator of muscle hypertrophy, so you may logically deduce time under tension is important. But what does the scientific literature say? A recent review finds that provided you're training hard and getting to or near failure, slower tempos, which involve higher time under tension, largely produce similar muscle hypertrophy to comparatively faster tempos. On top of this, we've already noted how provided you're training hard and getting to or near failure, the research finds a wide range of rep numbers are similarly effective for stimulating gains. Most of these studies use a 1 to 2 second lifting and lowering tempo, although reps naturally slow down as you near failure. Either way, time under tension is widely different across this range, but gains are similar. So what's going on? Time under tension shouldn't be mistaken for mechanical tension. The tension we care about is optimized by training hard. Getting to or close to failure forces the body to recruit all the fibers we can and expose them to tension. This kicks off events in all these fibers that conclude in growth. And yes, this means both lower and higher reps can similarly involve high tension. When people prolong time under tension, a lot of that initial time is very far from failure. Accordingly, what we may call time under high tension, which is what matters, ends up being similar. What all this means for you is it's absolutely not essential to prolong or reach a specific time under tension threshold. You can do it if you like, since it's not inherently detrimental, but don't let it stray you away from the main aim, achieving time under high tension, which is largely no more complicated than getting to or near failure in that 6 to 35 rep range. This part somewhat links to the pump, as shorter rest time between sets invariably enhances the pump. Additionally, it's been known since the 90s that shorter rest between sets transiently enhances the elevation of anabolic hormones, like growth hormone. Bodybuilders notoriously use shorter rest between sets. This 1987 paper established a subset of bodybuilders rest at 10 to 90 seconds between sets. And this more recent 2013 analysis found after surveying 127 competitive bodybuilders, the majority rested 1 to 2 minutes between sets. Despite this, we have well-designed papers finding that resting 2.5 to 3 minutes between sets actually produces greater hypertrophy than resting for less time. What's going on? Well, transient anabolic hormonal elevations do not appear to be strongly related to the hypertrophy process. In general, it's possible that longer rest more effectively dissipates fatigue that would otherwise limit your ability to expose your fibers to tension. Having said all this, there are noteworthy considerations. The majority of the mentioned research to use programs heavily including compound exercises. With isolation exercises, it's possible shorter rests are fine. Moreover, if you are using shorter rests, performing extra sets could compensate. For example, this paper found each session with a leg press, around 4 to 5 sets with a minute of rest between sets, ultimately produced similar gains to 3 sets with 3 minutes of rest between sets. Anyhow, the key takeaway is despite the common practice of bodybuilders, shorter rest between sets are not superior. So if you need to take your time between sets, particularly between compound exercise sets, rest assured you're likely helping, not hurting, your gains. Lifting weights causes micro tears in your muscles. Your body then repairs the damage and enlarges the tissue. This is probably the single most frequent explanation for how muscle growth happens.
Muscle size increases as a result of the damaged protein fibers.
The resulting cycle of damage and repair eventually makes muscles bigger and stronger,
causing micro tears in the muscle fibers. The body naturally repairs this damage by mending the torn fibers. The result is a muscle that's larger and stronger than before.
A consequence of this is many may feel muscle soreness is essential and a valid proxy to know gains will occur. Although, it's interesting to know there are multiple potential causes of soreness. Damage might not just be the only thing going on. Nonetheless, what does the literature say about damage and hypertrophy? There are a few cases in the literature where researchers find that a program with greater average damage just ends up producing similar muscle hypertrophy to a program with lower average damage. Furthermore, your body adapts and reduces the damage you see from training over time, but significant growth still happens. Finally, although there are speculated pathways through which damage causes growth, there are strong counter-arguments to them. None of this is to say damage plays no role in hypertrophy, although it's possible researchers end up discovering it has no role. Regardless, what we do know is it's not the primary stimulus for growth. As of right now, tension is the best categorized mechanism behind hypertrophy. So the real thing that needs to be torn apart is the notion that microtears are the primary initiator of hypertrophy. The term muscle confusion is thrown about a bit. Arnold seems to call this
the shocking principle.
The idea is that your muscles can become stale, and to combat this, we need to surprise the muscle by introducing new workout variables or unusual exercises. What does the current scientific research say? This paper recruited trained subjects. One condition performed the same program across 8 weeks, while another condition switched in and out different training variables across every session of the 8 weeks. The result? Hypertrophy was similar between both groups. This second paper had some trained subjects perform the same program across 8 weeks, while other trained subjects let a phone app generate what exercises were to be trained for each muscle every session. The result? Hypertrophy was largely similar between both groups. To be fair, sensible training variation over the very long term could be beneficial, but we don't know right now. Even so, it's clear frequent training variation in the time frame studied fails to enhance gains. For those who've long believed muscle confusion is fallacious, you may be surprised it largely wasn't worse, but perhaps it's not too surprising. As I hope this video has portrayed, one of the most crucial things is to train a muscle hard to expose it to tension. There's more than one way to do this. Having said this, I still believe there are benefits to not training in an unpredictable and excessively varied manner. At the end of the day, I think following a consistent, well-designed program is a good idea for most people. Amidst all the noise, it certainly can be frustrating and even time-consuming to craft an effective program that gets you closer to your dream physique. But the Alpha Progression app, which is essentially your personal muscle-building assistant in the palm of your hand, can help you. Unlike other apps that craft garbage programs, the app intelligently crafts a program that is actually effective for complete muscular development. The training variables are fine-tuned and based on the scientific literature. Best of all, it is 100% tailored to what you want. Let it know the equipment you have, how much you can train, and if you want to preferentially target or neglect certain muscles. This can all take you less than a minute, and further modifications to personalize things even further can be done. The app has extra impressive features. During workouts, the app's algorithm carefully suggests how you may progressive overload to help push you to the next level. Unlockable achievements reward your hard work and help you stay motivated. Aesthetic graphs automatically display your long-term progress, and there is a huge exercise database of some of the best muscle building exercises, with straight-to-the-point videos and distilled instructions behind each. Try out every single one of the premium features during a free 2-week trial through the link in the comments and description. If you like it and go beyond, the link slashes the price of a subscription down by 20%. The app truly is exceptional, with numerous reviews speaking to this. Here are the summary points. Thank you for watching. Feel free to check out the Alpha Progression app or our recent deep dive into building the lats.